welcome back to Jay versus Horror. I'm your host, Jay Wall, and guys, we've been talking about crazy serial killer films lately. We talked about Fear with Ali Sheedy and Relentless with Judd Nelson, and then I moved on to Edge of Sanity with the great Anthony Perkins. And today we're going to talk about another one of my favorites from 2002. It's a South Korean urban horror thriller titled simply H. The film was written and directed by Lee Jong Hyuk and stars Yum Hung Ah, Ji Jin Hee, and Cho Sing Woo. And the film follows a serial killer who preyed on pregnant women but has been behind bars for almost 10 months when a copycat killer starts to repeat his exact order of crimes. Guys, this is a really great film. It starts off with a kind of Silence of the Lambs vibe. Early on in the film, we see a young pregnant woman found in a dump with her fetus found next to her, which is pretty disturbing in itself. Shortly after that, we see a second pregnant woman has been murdered on a city bus. From here, we see that detectives Kang and Kim are put on this case, and they immediately go to a serial killer who is imprisoned. Now, this guy is very creepy. He's very Lecter-esque, I would say. Even though he's only 22 years old, he did target pregnant women, and then eventually he turned himself in after committing several grisly murders, even walking into the police station with a bag full of body parts. His name is Shin Hun, and we see that the detectives that worked on his original case have had some problems of their own. One of them even committed suicide after the case because they couldn't deal with it. It was in fact actually Detective Kim's fiance that committed suicide after the case was closed. So when Kang and Kim go to talk to Hyun, Kim stays outside in the van and listens in while Kang tries to get information out of Hyun. But Hyun is one of these serial killers, like I said, very much reminiscent of Hannibal Lecter, where he doesn't exactly always tell the truth and talks in riddles and philosophy and never gives straightforward answers. Feeling like they haven't really gotten anywhere with Hyun, they turn their attention to his psychologist, who is very cold-hearted about this when they ask if she will help them decipher what Hyun has done and what he is saying, and if he will help them catch this copycat. She tells them that she's more interested in her patient than the faces of victims she's never seen. They are, however, able to track down this copycat killer by following clues from the first two victims. They stake out the killer's home, but when the killer comes home, he notices the cops are there and runs. Detective Kang follows him into a nightclub where the killer attacks a woman, slices her ear off, and then slits her throat in front of everyone. Kang has no real choice here but to shoot the guy, and then they're unable to get any information from him. And despite all this, the murders continue. They then capture another suspect after a couple more murders happen, but yet again, the murders continue. Alright guys, I've told you a great deal about the film, but this is where I put out the spoiler alert, because there are two really big twists at the end of this film. I'm going to tell you one. I'm not going to tell you the second because I want you to go watch the film. I think it has a lot more impact if you see it for yourself. Now, what we find out here in the end is that this serial killer, Shin, his mother had tried to abort him when he was a child, and that's why he went after these pregnant women. His psychologist, the crazy Dr. Chu, had used post-hypnotic suggestion on the other two killers to make them commit copycat murders. This is why the killings continued in Shin's original pattern, no matter how many suspects were captured by the detectives. Now, there's still a big piece of this mystery left unsaid at this point, because there's still another victim and there's still another killer. But guys, that's as far as I want to take it. I really want you to watch this one for yourself. It's that good. I was lucky enough to see this film on Sundance about a year after it came out. This is back when Sundance actually showed independent films. They had a double or triple feature on Sunday nights where they just showed Asian horror films. This is one of the films I saw during the period of time where they were doing that just absolutely blew my mind. It definitely belongs up there with films like Silence and Seven, and to an extent even things like The Cell. Now, going back and rewatching the film, I did find a couple little things that annoyed me about it. Not much, just a little thing. Mostly the characters. They seem very one dimensional to a point, but I think when you get to the end, you kind of see why. We have Detective Kim, who is very standoffish, and every time you see her, she's kind of just standing there in a black trench coat, smoking a cigarette, staring off in the distance. She's dealt with this killer before, and her fiance committed suicide because of the case. So it always seems like she knows a little bit more than everyone else does about what's happening, even though nobody truly knows what's happening until the end. Detective Chang, however, is your average macho male detective. He's very impetuous. He will break into a crime scene if he wants to find out what's in there. He's very driven from the beginning to just find who this killer is as quick as possible. Where with Kim, you kind of feel like she knows that there's more going on and she wants to kind of lay back and let things unravel. All in all, guys, it's a little confusing, but if you hang with it till you get to the end, that's when the story really makes sense and kind of has that gut punch ending. I really like this one a lot, guys. I'm going to give it 8 out of 10. That's how much I like this film. Now, South Korea's got some great films out there. I Saw the Devil, and of course this one, and there's another film called Killers I saw a few years ago that was great. They really know how to do the psychological serial killer horror type film. So I would definitely urge you guys to seek out at least all 3 of those films. They are very excellent. And maybe just go Google South Korean serial killer films and just start going down the list, because there's quite a few good ones that I did not mention today. All right, horror fans. Now we are going to leave you with the trailer for 2002's H. Don't forget to like and subscribe, guys, and check out the link for our Patreon page down below in the description. And we will talk to you, as always, the next time we've got something worth talking about. Bye.
자신에게 흐르는 피에 대해서 생각해 본 적 있습니다. 씻고 싶어도 지워지지 않는 더러운 피. 전 단지 피 냄새를 맡은 것뿐입니다.
시인의 소명으로 여자를 죽이면서 그 불안과 악몽이 사라졌다고 하더군요.
나 같은 괴물과 싸워야 할 때 자신이 괴물이 되지 않도록 주의하는 게 좋은 겁니다.
피해자는 서영택과 아무런 관계도 없는 제3의 인물이고 범인은 10개월 전 신현의 살해 방법을 재현했습니다.
CA 사주하거나 아니면 다른 놈이 모방한다고 봐도 되는 겁니다.
어떤 새끼냐? 네 명령이 따라.
전 단지 피 냄새를 맡은 것뿐입니다. 아주 더러운 피 냄새가 사건이 계속됐으면 좋겠네요.